some games in a Japanese point battle against other top 100 players across the world. Let's go ahead and open up our music in a moment, but first I need to negate attack so I can win my game. Let me see what I draw. I am notably out of machines for the Mirror Innovator's effect. But thanks to a crafter drone, we are going to be able to send one into the graveyard. Let's draw and then activate the effect of Mirror Innovator. Unfortunately, we only have the one machine in the grave. So this is going to be the best we can do here. I'm going to keep the other one in attack mode so we don't take extra damage from a future Mirror Innovator piercing us. Let's clear out the Gold Rush and pass it over. If I summoned a Light Sorcerer, I would have been able to debuff one of them, and that would have been basically the same thing. I would have had no machines in the grave, so this saves me a few life points. Let's go ahead and open the music. And we're going to see how it goes. They unfortunately do have a aim eagle and are able to bring in the Mirror Innovator. Not being able to clear it last turn is a bit of an issue. We have lost both our slime and our negate attack. We are just barely hanging in there if they swing over the crafter drone. But they actually choose to clear out the Mirror Innovator instead, which does make some sense. Still not looking great. And Butchercorn is unable to use the effect because we still have the crafter drone on board. So I think we want to filter it away. Draw a card and we find a Dark Magician Girl, which is interesting as we do have 3 additional levels available to us. So I think we want to activate our skill here. We're going to choose Dark Magician Girl, add in Dark Magician, then send the Magician Girl into the graveyard. After that, we are able to summon out 2 copies of Light Sorcerer of Sanctity. These are able to use the effect to debuff one of their monsters by a lot. But it is putting us quite low to do so. So I do think it is fairly unlikely we actually managed to pull off the win. We are going to Dark Magic Attack, of course, to remove a potential slime. Combustion Crisis, just as good of a clear, as we are definitely bringing in 2 level 7 monsters this turn. Though our board would have been better had we not used the Dark Magic Attack, and simply went for the Dark Magician Girl, which would have allowed us to have another monster on board. And that is probably going to come back to bite us. We enter the battle phase, and we swing in... Wait, did I miss lethal? That was a little under 3,000. Okay, so it ends up being the same amount either way. They are at 600, but we only have 1,100 left. A 3,500 from the aim eagle brings them up high enough to swing over the Mirror Innovator to end the game. But a Talismanic Seal Array or lots of other options can do it as well. They go for the Mirror Innovator to close this out. Notably, I could have saved a few life points by not using the second Light Sorcerer of Sanctity, but I don't think it would have made a difference with a 5,200 Mirror Innovator coming through. I'll go ahead and report the loss. And then, unfortunately, due to the rules of the point battle, I am on a 60-second penalty. So I will set a timer before I queue. And this is the method that they are using to prevent us from constantly queuing in to the same person over and over. Welcome, Paco. What caused you to not participate? Yeah, it is a pretty late time for the event, and it is 4 hours long, so I understand needing to sleep instead. 5 more seconds on the clock, and then we will be ready to queue once more. Let's go ahead and try out our next opponent. Turning off the timer. Okay. Let's open up the data sheet one more time. And now we are fighting number 20. So we should mark that as well. The rest of the information can go in too. I draw a card for turn. An interesting opening hand. Probably one we would rather have gone second with. I will keep the DM around. And pass it over. I'm assuming they are going to be on Ragnarok. So I want the extra monster on board. And I don't want anything in attack mode because they can just debuff it and then walk over it. And they debuff their monster to bring in, presumably, an Attribute Hydron. No, it is actually a copy of Sunglasses. I remove, and we get a reasonable draw here. I am going to go ahead and bring in the Dark Magician, alongside nothing else. But I don't think I want to use my magic attack just yet. The worst that can really happen to us is a negate attack, which doesn't really matter with the current board state. We have our own copy. Also, I'm pretty sure they have something like a buffered slime. So the idea is by holding onto it for another turn, they might just choose to set more cards face down. And then we can use negate attack and gain a ton of value. Welcome, Frank. So basically, I'm running in a point battle with a lot of the top players over in Japan. And everybody is logging the results of every single match. And we're going to use this to basically determine what decks are better or not. Get a really good comprehensive data set that relies on, or that only uses players with a proven track record. Unfortunately for me, they are able to snipe the Dark Magic attack. But I suppose this is better than them hitting the negate attack itself. Mani activates its effect and is going to debuff the Dark Magician. Obviously, the preferred hit for me would be the Seal Array, so I could Dark Magic attack their set card. But I'm pretty sure the set card is just something like Slime, so I'm not going to be that concerned about it. I do want to use this negation, though. Keeping a monster on board seems relatively important. Let's go ahead and activate it. We draw. And we actually do manage to find a Mirror Innovator. We could cycle out the Avant Wolf. But do we want to? Is the question here. Because currently we would be able to just kind of summon it out and have another monster on board. So I think we go for Crafter Drone, Light Source, and pay the 300. Debuff here. Mirror Innovator. Tribute out itself. Then Avant Wolf, and let's do a little bit of calculation. this is 200 damage. And then this is 400 damage. Plus 600. That is 1,000. That is super far off of lethal. Okay. We'll go ahead and activate one of our, we will activate the Mirror Innovator's effect. And just get rid of these for later use. We are buffed up and ready to battle. End of the battle phase. Let's start with the Attitude Hydron, as it is the more important of the two cards. But unfortunately, they did have their negative attack. I thought it was a buffered slime, but unfortunately was proven wrong, and I'm going to take a pretty serious thrashing for it. Destroying the negative attack obviously would have been a ton of value. But I can still potentially hit something else valuable later in the game. Obviously, Maximum Ragnarok, when they already have two bosses on board, is going to be able to debuff both of my monsters. For the cost of just one card, it becomes a 1600 debuff that is spread out. So a little bit better than a Talismanic Seal Array. Attitude Hydron, still not able to get the card draw though. So I'm definitely being punished for the greed play here. But I don't think we are entirely out of the game just yet. We do see a Dark Femtron on the opponent's board. So it isn't a perfect field for them. Though I guess it couldn't get that much better. We are going to take a ton of damage. But we still have the opportunity to crack back. And they have no back row. Unfortunately, that is going to do it. Drawing all high-level monsters. Leaves us unable to activate anything. We'll go ahead and mark this as a loss as well. I do wonder if we did use the Dark Magic attack that turn. What? Oh, I accidentally immediately queued. That is my bad. But fortunately, we did run into a different player here. So I hope I don't really get disqualified or anything. Alright, and we are up first. Let's go ahead and draw. Another opening with the DM in hand. And we want to just set up and bring it face down. We don't really know what they are playing, since they are on an archive skill. But this should be a relatively safe turn one. Maybe we'll be able to figure out what they are playing. Alright, this has to be Blue Eyes. Alright, we see a Dragius, which is rough, and they are actually on Widespread Ruin still. I do not wish to take 2500, so we will negate attack here. Our move, and that is, workable. It's not ideal, but we are able to debuff the Dragius, and we are able to attack over it. Let's Dark Magic attack to guarantee it goes through. And then set this face down and start swinging. Unfortunately, Forever Freeze was probably not going to be that big of a deal. Our Mirror Innovators dodge right over it. And we still don't know the skill they were using. we see a Thunder the Thunder, meaning a new Jagius would be pretty devastating. Oh, welcome Chenyu. Sorry, SG. You have kind of similar profile pictures, so I got you mixed up. And I was actually about to say, I thought Chenyu was playing in the event. So I was a little bit confused. I hope you're able to get your sleep. Alright, and we do see another Jagius coming down and inflicting a ton of damage. We do have very few copies of machines in the graveyard, so our Butchercorn is not online. We're going to need to draw pretty well here to get back into the game. And a Dark Magician Girl is probably not the answer. We'll mill with Essel just to try to get some more cards out of here. Then we are able to summon out Dark Magician Girl. And I think we need 2 Talismanic. Go ahead and return our Essel's Light Sorcerer and Crafter Drone into the deck just to be able to clear this Dragius. There is always the chance they do not draw a boss monster. Dragius decks tend to be pretty low on them. So, let us see what happens. Pass it over. There is a chance this is just, something like life point gain, rather than Blue Eyes, because we haven't seen a single Blue Eyes related card here. La Moon. That is fine. Alright, and a 1-beat monster is playing. Oh, is it Servant of Dawn? It is. That is new information. Let's see if I can't mark it. There we go. Hajimari no Shimobe. Unfortunately for us, that is an out to the Dark Magician Girl, and we are going to be losing, with the swiftness. I think we will play a few more rounds with Magician Shuffle. But if we aren't able to pick up any wins, we will be switching over to a different deck. Oh, and here comes a Sky Dragon. And that is rough. And this time, I am going to remember to set the penalty timer. That is running, so now I am able to mark that I lost. So, we've played against a variety of decks, and we are getting some consistent results. Losing, losing, and losing. But that is what I wanted to test. I feel like the Dark Magician deck should be good, but it sometimes simply is not going to work out that way. And I can see why it would be a little bit awkward to actually get these things to land. We are basically hoping that the opponent draws into hands with a bunch of spell and trap cards instead of their monsters. And if they're already not drawing any monsters, there are probably better ways to take advantage of it than to land Dark Magic Attack, such as building our own board of much better monsters. In unrelated news, I am thinking that after the qualifiers are over, I might go and try Etrian Odyssey 2. The one I played was number 3, so I'd be going backwards. Also, the timer is up and we are able to participate. So let's go ahead and queue. I'm gonna go read the questions other participants are asking. incorrect number. Okay. I'll start marking that after I take my turn. Oh, and we actually managed to get a rematch, even though I waited the time. But if I know they are on Servant of Dawn, I know there are Dragius coming. But more importantly, I'm thinking at my hand. I want to keep the Bicorn, because we already have the 3 machines that we need. So we're able to go ahead and pass the turn. Surely they are still on the same skill as well. Alright, we see the Lamoon just like last time. And this is actually where Magician Shuffle is supposed to shine. But this is looking like the one game I don't get the Dark Magic attack into my hand, which is infinitely funny to me. Let's go ahead and craft a drone. We can go ahead and ditch the Bicorn. Draw a new card. And, well, that is something. Let's go ahead and activate our skill. Unfortunately, we do not have the Dark Magic attack in hand. So we're instead going to go for a Dark Magician Girl. Sending the Dark Magician. Then we can go ahead and drop a Mirror Innovator here. Next up is the Light Sorcerer of Sanctity. And, I don't think it is worth paying life points to use the effect. So we are going to immediately tribute it off. And summon out an Avant Wolf as well. Actually, did I miss lethal? This would have been 1200. The 2600 would have reduced it to 0. But I don't think it is really worth considering as a lethal line. Primarily because I am entirely expecting my opponent to have a trap card. Let's head into the battle phase and swing in with the Dark Magician Girl. There is almost definitely going to be a negate attack, or a slime, or something. Widespread ruin. Fair enough. So, even still, we would have been able to deal an additional 1200 damage. But our opponent is actually on another trap card, as we would have told by the Hourglass. And it looks like they actually do have a play this time. Notably, a double Dragius board would be pretty bad for my lifespan. Especially with a Thunder the Thunder to provide debuffs. Though it's really interesting, they are actually running this over one of those inherent debuffers. Something like a Mage, or even a Speedy Performer, or more commonly, the Light Sorcerer. Oh, but they are on Servant of Dawn. So, Light Sorcerer of Sanctity is not available. So, I suppose it makes sense. And in this case, the Thunder the Thunder provides a value. That the Mage wouldn't, or at least it would, if Servant of Dawn wasn't able to boost the Lamoon, should they have needed to. Okay. This is still a little bit awkward. We managed to find the Dark Magic attack, but we don't find anything else we need. I could use Trip to the Doomed, but I don't see much of a reason. I think it's best to just set our board and see what happens. Oh, welcome, Shoto. How are you doing today? We are, in the middle of getting completely steamrolled. But I do think, we will have plenty of time to turn it around. This event is several hours long. Alright, here comes the Inferno. And they unfortunately immediately find and destroy our slime. I am doing pretty well. We had a pretty long stream earlier. And after a quick break to get food, finish some other things, we are back at it. Unfortunately, they managed to destroy my dark magic attack as well. And we are going to be taking another 2700 to the face. A couple of Dark Magician Girls, but now we are missing our most important card. So I think we need to use Boltricorn and add its effect to shut off that new face down. Then we will Essel. Essel is, well, I actually still have the negate attack in the deck, and I don't want to risk milling it at this point. So rather than activate the effect of Essel, we will tribute summon Dark Magician Girl. And then we are going to do it a second time and set 1. I don't think they are running any barriers, and we've already seen Widespread Ruin, so we don't have that much to worry about. I could have theoretically used the Tribute to the Doomed here, but I don't think it is all that important. Let's go ahead and swing into the Sky Dragon. And then we try to swing over the Flame Cerberus. And if they are running Secret Tech Barrier, they are. Really impressive choice, forcing us to trade away this Dark Magician Girl. But now we are forced to end turn. Maybe Tribute to the Doomed would have been correct. No, I have not run into any Psychic. I'm honestly going to be very surprised if I run into a single Psychic player during the entirety of the event. A one-treat monster in the Flame Cerberus. And Turn of Dawn is going to mean 200 damage. And that puts me at 1600 life remaining. But after this, I'm down to 1300. And that means any low-level monster capable of clearing Essel does represent a lethal push. As now Thunder the Thunder can get in for exactly game. And there it is, another Thunder the Thunder, securing the victory. I am not running any 1400 defenders in my deck. So I suppose I should have used that, Tribute to the Doomed when I had the chance. Would have cleared out the Flame Cerberus, left them on an empty board. And they would not have been able to clear out 2 Dark Magician Girls. So I feel like most of my losses so far are actually just me making mistakes, rather than necessarily the deck. But we will give it one more shot. Obviously, when we are so early in the point battle, I do think it's okay to start off with an experimental deck that is going to lose. I wonder how well the top performers are doing. Nearly 4,000. And we are only half an hour into the event. Pretty solid. Is this timer done yet? Nope. 20 more seconds. Shoto, you are definitely able to join the tournaments we host on Friday. As long as you're in the right servers. Maybe I should definitely start posting the point battle codes in my server as well, actually. But in any case, that is it for the timer. Let's go ahead and see if we can get in to a potentially winning game. And of course, I should mark the sheet again. Result of the coin flip, and seriously, 3 times in a row. Even though I am waiting, I keep putting in to the same player. But that means I will finally eventually get my revenge. Paco, I believe there are 50 or so players in the room. Let's definitely start by throwing these face down. Then we summon out a Bicorn, and should we summon the Mirror Innovator. With only 2 monsters in the graveyard, we aren't going to be able to do much more than this. I want to keep this Bicorn live on the off chance they don't draw in anything and are forced to pass next turn. So we are only going to return 1 monster into the deck. And there's actually a pretty good chance it would get some value from Piercing. But I don't want them to be able to filter their hand with Thunder the Thunder. So we are swinging into it. But we also know they are running the Wide Side of Ruin, so we do need to be watching out for that. Paco, the opponent is able to wait if they want to. However, that means they are spending less time battling players. Which is presumably a bad idea. Alright, we have Trudy the Doomed coming down and immediately removing my boss monster. But it does at least cost him a card from hand. Unfortunately, they are able to immediately make it up with Seahorse Carrier. Alright, enjoy your night, Shoto. Alright, here comes Dragius. And unfortunately, not much we can do about this. Drawing one of our trap cards would have been nice. Technically, we are still alive here. It just is not a good sign. Alright, 2 copies of Dark Magician Girl. But I mean, I think that is good for us. We want a Magician Shuffle here, reveal the Magician Girl, and unfortunately, I don't think we are going to actually be using Dark Magic Attack, even though we have it ready to go, as we need to actually establish as much board presence as possible. So let's ditch Dark Magician so we can provide some buffs. Then we can craft a drone, and I would like to discard the Mirror Innovator to try to get us to another low level. But unfortunately, we draw the 3rd Dark Magician Girl instead. Still, we are going to do what we can. And let's bring out 2 of them. Followed by a Talismanic Seal Array on the Dragius. We can return both Mirror Innovators into the deck, alongside the Bicorn and a 1500 Vanilla. This allows us to reduce Dragius, and then enter the battle phase and try to get in for some damage. But they have a face down. But they do let the attack go through. I'll go ahead and clear out the Winged Dragon. And we will see what they do next. Unfortunately for us, both of our back row are just the other Dark Magic attacks, which are not particularly useful. However, if they are not able to clear this board, Dark Magician Girl, number 3, will be able to tag out 4 Dark Magician and clear out whatever trap they have set. Like Paco says, probably a copy of the Barrier, which we learned they were running during a previous game. So here, we are just hoping they whiff for a turn and draw a ton of trap cards that they are forced to go ahead and set face down. Alright, this is the start of something good. Show us a Mirror Innovator and some low-level monsters. And we could be set to finally pick up a win. I activate Magician Shuffle. I reveal the 3rd Dark Magician Girl in my hand. Add Dark Magician. send Dark Magician Girl to the grave. Then we tribute summon Dark Magician. 1, 2. Allowing us to activate Dark Magic Attack, blowing away Buffered Slime. Essel onto the field. And we still have a machine in the graveyard for Mirror Innovator. Tribute 1, Tribute 2. Activate its effect to inflict piercing battle damage. We return Avant Wolf into the deck. End of the battle phase. And swing over La Moon for game. It worked exactly as planned. So we can finally mark a win in the spreadsheet. Up against, Servant of Dawn. And, that does mean we are going to try to immediately queue, as I think what is happening is our opponent is probably not inputting their data until after the match. So I finish the match and immediately set the timer while they start filling in the information. And then, after they fill in the information, my timer is up, and then we run into each other again. I'm gonna guess that is what's going on. As you can see, immediately queuing allowed us to queue into another player. And now that we have broken the curse, I will be switching off of the deck after my next loss. Where did it go? Okay. We are on shuffle and we are up, second. 49. Odd hand here, but against a lone back row. Do we want to even use the effect? I'm leaning towards no, because it would be the only card on our board. So we're gonna go ahead and ditch it. That way we're able to have at least a little bit of protection. Did they use Overlord? They did not. What are the odds of that monster being 1200 or lower? I feel like it has to be relatively solid. Of just being like an Essel. And it is a Thunder Monster. Is my opponent on Hammer Crush? What is this asking me to do? I did win this one. Unfortunately, they bring in a Dragius, and I'm assuming a debuffer. Light Sorcerer. Okay. And now we have no killable monsters of clearing this Dragius. Or at least that would be true if we did not have access to Light Sorcerer Sanctity and a Talismanic Seal Array. So let's go ahead and debuff them as much as humanly possible. Set a card face down, then seal. Let's return everything but Dark Magician. Well, actually, is Dark Magician good to have in the grave? I mean, we don't even have any right now, so this is more targets for our Dark Magic attack. And the Crafter Drone means Mirror Innovator is live if we draw it. I think this is a good play. Let's go ahead and debuff Dragius, then enter battle. Play around a Recital, and then swing in directly if we can. Have they revealed a skill to us? I don't think so. Okay, so we enter in here. Looks like they managed to whiff on the Barrel Dragon. And we actually have plenty of monsters, so I don't mind holding onto the negative attack for later. Alright, we have 4 targets. And we find a Dark Magician Girl, which is fantastic. Let's go ahead and activate Magician Shuffle. Reveal the Magician Girl. Add Dark Magician to hand. Send a Magician Girl to the grave. Summon out a Boltricorn. And then it is time for our one and only star of the show. Activate Dark Magic Attack, blowing up all 3 back row. And then, of course, we are going to need to use the Talismanic Seal Array to seal this game. And that is a win for us. But I do not know what skill they were running, so I might have to use the deck view. Alright, and they were on Hammer Crush. I'm gonna take a screenshot to show that I had a win, in case they ask me for it. And then we can go ahead and queue in for another duel. We are player 8. We are on Shuffle. Oh, welcome, Carrie. We are going second. And they are number 46. But we don't know what skill they are running. And we have opened a decent enough hand for ourselves. No Dark Magic Attack to deal with all those set cards. But we do have access to a relatively resilient line here. Let us start with Magician Shuffle. And it'll let us bring the Dark Magician into the graveyard, thinning out the deck and improving our consistency. Then we can Crafter Drone. Summon out the Bicorn. Tribute Summon Dark Magician Girl. Outwent Wolf. And we will not use the Crafter Drone. As I think I am just going to bring in the Mirror Innovator itself. Tribute 1, Tribute 2. Boosting it by 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Would be 3,400 and 2,500, just barely missing the mark. So we instead are going to go into the battle phase as is. And we actually connect with both attacks. Pass it over. Obviously, we wouldn't be able to have gotten lethal unless we had another level 4. So let's see how they respond to such an early lead. Alright, and we can confirm they are running Ultimate Bond. Tribute to the Doomed is probably going to remove our own Mirror Innovator. Actually, no, I think removing the Dark Magician Girl makes more sense, as they need to be able to have my Mirror Innovator on the board to use Aim Eagle. Activating the monster's effect brings in a 3,400, 3,500, or 3,600 boss monster. It is the Mirror Innovator, and they have its own effect. Being able to shuffle away all those monsters and get in for over 2, or just under 2,000 damage. We draw for turn. Still no access to the all-important Dark Magic Attack. Let us seal away one of their back row. Then Crafter Drone, and see what we draw with the Mill. It's another low level. I already have Dark Magician in the graveyard, so no reason to overcomplicate things. Let's bring in Dark Magician Girl, and if we manage to hit the only trap card they have with the Boltricorn, This is a lethal push. And we seem to have gotten in cleanly, shutting off whatever it was they had. That is another win for us. So we're gonna go ahead and queue. And somehow, with just a few wins, we went from bottom of the barrel up to 6th place, which is pretty funny. I am not convinced we are going to be able to keep it that way, but we are going to be doing our very best. Up against number 13 now. And we went, I want to say we are first. Okay. Let us draw a card. Interesting opening hand. But thinking it through, I don't think I want to bring in the Mirror Innovator. And I don't really want to clog my hand either. Let's go like this. Right, they are number 13. We don't have a skill confirmation. But Barrel Dragon means it is probably Ultimate Bond. Alright, Barrel Dragon activating the effect, and they do, of course, target the tribute monster and are able to run over it. We have our Bicorn, so if we are able to get another machine into the graveyard, which we actually can do, let's go ahead and tribute to the Doomed by discarding our Avant Wolf, allowing us to destroy the Barrel Dragon for free. Then we can flip up Surge Bicorn, and we can even mill more with our Essel. Essel sends another monster into the graveyard. Not so shabby. Bicorn activates the effect, returning 3 monsters into the deck. I'm going to pick the ones that actually recycle. Then it is time to Tribute Summon. Mirror Innovator, counting as 2 tributes. But that is not all. For Magician Shuffle, is going to get our Dark Magician into the graveyard. Skill could not have been used on turn 1, but it is now free to set up another monster. We go ahead and Tribute Summon. And we'll use Mirror Innovator as well. Let's return 1 monster into the deck, which may help us out in the future. Swing in, and they don't have anything to activate. And we are at 6,000. Things are looking potentially good. So, Carrie. I do think Tomato is qualified. Actually, no. Tomato hasn't topped a GRF. So, they are not going to be in this event. They have won plenty of tournaments, but I don't think they have qualified for this one specifically. And welcome, Sarah. Though, that being said, I think if Tomato wanted to participate, Ravita probably does recognize them, as I'm pretty sure Tomato has won an Angel Cup, or something along those lines. Alright, so we see the opponent use a Curious Innovation to go up to 3,500. But that is only one of our 2 monsters cleared. Is that going to be enough? Our move. No boss monster. However, with 2 light sorcerers, we might be able to make some pretty significant progress, as that is a 1200 debuff to the Mirror Innovator. And if this connects like it should, that will be game. And it is another win against Ultimate Bond. And now we are all the way up in 2nd place with Magician Shuffle. Despite going on a 4-game lose streak, we are 50-50. We lost 4 games, and then we won 4 games immediately afterwards. And because of the way point battles work, that means we are currently at the top table, which is infinitely funny, but also enough motivation for me to keep on testing this deck. We are fighting yet another Yuga. Obviously Mirror Innovator, quite a powerful card, but they are not the only one capable of using it to good effect here. I would really like to keep the Bicorn around, but are we really going to have a way to get a third machine into the graveyard? It is quite unlikely, but we will set these three and pass it over. And while they take their first move, I'm just going to set them as Ultimate Bond until something disproves it. I mean, we are seeing a Siesta Torero, a Innovator, and an Amigal. And unfortunately, our entire board is full of low defense monsters. So we are taking a huge beating. Our move, and this is interesting, actually. With Essel, there is actually a chance we mill more machines. So what we want to do is start with our skill, because Magician's Shuffle is going to get another card out of the deck, increasing the odds of milling machine-type monsters. Let's go ahead and send Dark Magician to the grave. Then we mill two more. And we've milled a second machine-type monster, which means if we tribute the Crafter Drone, we now have 3 machines in grave, and Bicorn is able to enter the board and activate its effect, shuffling away 3 monsters. Allowing it to be used as 2 tributes for the summon of my Mirror Innovator. Then I will activate the effect of Mirror Innovator in case they have something wacky like a barrier prepared. Enter the battle phase. Swing over the Mirror Innovator, and it connects. Swing over the Avant Wolf. It also connects. Swing in directly. And we have managed to even the board. However, with an Essel on our field, there is always the possibility of a huge 5,000 attack Mirror Innovator coming down and ending our game. All I need to do is find a Mirror Innovator, an Amigal, or a way to activate the skill, and a way to get some high-level monsters into the graveyard. Notably, I do want to mention, I have not seen a lot of 7 shift. So I don't think that they're going to discard to use the effect. But they are going to summon another Innovator completely normally. And they are going to boost up as much as possible. 3,800 is only 28 damage though. So we survive. And they set another back row. Interesting, but our move. A Dark Magic attack is nice, but without a Dark Magician Girl in hand, we are not able to achieve the Dark Magician from our grave. And that means we are just setting a bunch of cards face down. We could theoretically use Light Sorcerer of Sanctity, but would it make a difference? Let's say we hit for 2,500 directly. That leaves them with 1,200 life. Mirror Innovator is dealing 700. And Light Sorcerer would only be worth an additional... Wait, hold on. Essel. We mill another 300. Which means now if they don't have a trap, this is just barely lethal. And we are going to go for it. Let's go ahead and activate Mirror Innovator. We need to return both monsters into the deck. And as you can see, this is now a setup for a near perfect lethal attack. Mirror Innovator goes in and claims another win. And the Dark Magician is on a roll. We are in first place. Let us go ahead and duel again. I want to point out, if this was the ranked ladder, we would have just hit King of Games, fighting exclusively some of the best players in the world. Alright, and we are back against number 13, who I believe is still on Ultimate Bond. Find it in the list, and we are going second. Do we have an Essel? No. Unfortunate. And we don't actually have much of anything. We will go ahead and Magician Shuffle to get a slightly stronger board. So obviously an Essel here would have been great, as we would have been able to guarantee the Dark Magician gets summoned. But instead, we are just summoning out a lone Dark Magician girl, and assuming most of those machine monsters do have a pretty low defense stat. Let's go ahead and battle. Swing over, and swing over. Even an Essel is not enough. Let's go ahead and pass turn. Notably, unless they draw a barrage of steel, our light sorcerers are in a pretty good position, as we'll be able to stop whatever attack they make, and then do a massive debuff. Alright, and there is the Gold Rush, discarding a Mirror Innovator to grab just an Avant Wolf. Not that impressive. I think Negate Attack is worth using here because of how weak their position is. We want to press our advantage as much as possible. So let's go ahead and Light Sorcerer Sanctity ×2. Really turn the screws on the Gold Rush. Then we could bring in another 2,500 and go even further by getting more monsters into the graveyard. Let's activate our skill. Reveal Dark Magician Girl. Add the third copy from deck to hand. Then send one to the grave. Then we Tribute Summon. I feel that I did something wrong. Oh, I was supposed to bring in the normal Dark Magician, so that way I'd be able to tribute off the other Light Sorcerer. But this is fine, too. I don't think the 1,300 is going to make a difference between lethal or not. So let's just battle. Clear out all of their monsters, and swing in directly, with a pretty big board. Also, it's very worth noting, our Dark Magician girls are not level 7, which means they aren't able to aim eagle. They are stuck with their regular boss monsters. Something like a Gold Rush is not going to be boosted up. They need a Mirror Innovator specifically in order to clear through this. Unfortunately, with a Bicorn, I am kind of expecting the Mirror Innovator to show up here. Alright, we see the Aim Eagle, and they don't use the Bicorn. It is just a Barrel Dragon coming in. But unfortunately for us, they do manage to hit the effect. And with an Avant Wolf, they are going to be able to clear this board, including a Barrage of Steel for my Talismanic. And that means we are now kind of sitting here without a clear out to the Barrel Dragon. So we are just hoping to draw into a Mirror Innovator. Or Tribute to the Doomed works too. Tribute to the Doomed, activate. For sure, we discard the Bicorn, I think. Not a lot for us to work with, but enough to make a push. Let's go ahead and Seal Array. Returning our Dark Magician girls into the deck alongside a Sorcerer of Sanctity. And now Avant Wolf is debuffed, and we are able to swing over it for a fair amount of damage. This isn't a super impressive turn, but being able to clear the board and get them super low on life is good enough for me. I think it should be reasonably unlikely for a 6 or a 5,000 damage counter push. And then something like a Mirror Innovator can end it from there. Alright, we see a Gold Rush and 2 Back Row. So, I mean, I think realistically we are looking for a Dark Magic attack turn. Just a way to... We want 2 low levels, a Dark Magician Girl, Dark Magic attack, and a 3rd low level. That is going to be able to swing in after the Dark Magic attack. Alright, we do find multiple Dark Magician Girls, but not the spell trap removal we are hoping for. We can activate our skill, but Dark Magician is already in the graveyard, so there's no point in that. Let's summon out the Bicorn. And then summon out the Essel in defense. And then we can Tribute Summon. And then we can Tribute Summon again. And if either of these attacks manage to connect, we might be able to win the game. And they don't activate a trap card. Dark Magician Girl gets yet another victory. We are on a roll. But unfortunately, there are still plenty of hours left in the event. I don't think this is nearly enough points to call it a day. And I mean, I actually am obligated to play at least 25 games. So at some point, the streak is going to have to end. Oh, we are actually fighting a Mimi. Number 62. And we are going second. Okay. They are on an archive skill. So will it be the mysterious Blue Eyes White Dragon? Welcome, Shadow Mew. Today is going well. We are actually surprisingly somehow in the lead of this big event. Though there are several hours left to queue with. Okay, so I need to make sure I keep track of where they set the monsters. But actually they've attributed off 2 different monsters. So it isn't as big of a deal now. However, they did make one mistake. And they used Essel, giving me access to an incredibly powerful boss monster. Let's use our own Essel here and special summon the Blue Eyes White Dragon. Then we bring in a Crafter Drone. But that is not all, as we are going to tribute off for Mirror Innovator. And since Crafter Drone is a machine type monster, Mirror Innovator's effect will activate, granting it 300 additional attack points and piercing battle damage. End of the battle phase, and I am pretty sure these are both copies of Torna the Windweaver, a monster with only 1,000 defense. No, it is a Clear Ice Dragon. What are they running? But with a Clear Ice being revealed, I do need to risk it with the Blue Eyes so I can get in for the 1200 safely. And we actually managed to do so. It is their move, and we are in a commanding lead. Welcome, Bruno. Oh, and also Mew, how are you? You have been playing a ton of games that look really interesting to me. But I'm not sure if I'm ever going to actually get the time to play them. But those are a pretty good, pretty fun-looking roguelites. Alright, so we see the Blue Eyes Rain to bring in the Bright Dragon. However, my opponent is not going to be able to activate the Monster Destruction effect, as I have their Blue Eyes. Which is great news for me. They are also probably going to struggle, to actually out it. Bright Dragon is able to go in as a 3,000 attack point monster, but they need a debuff. Otherwise, they just tie. I'm expecting them to clear out the Mirror Innovator, but if that is their only attack, Light Sorcerer is able to provide a debuff in return. Let's see what we draw. Another Mirror Innovator is incredible. So, I think we are going to bring in the Light Sorcerer of Sanctity. Activate the effect. and debuff this significantly. Activate the effect again. Then with Mirror Innovator, we have a huge piercing monster capable of running over the Slugger with 0 defense. Let's return Mirror Innovator into the deck. Crafter Drone is furthermore going to become a Dark Magician Girl. But first, we are going to be sending Dark Magician to the graveyard to make sure the Dark Magician Girl is properly buffed. Dark Magician added to hand, and then sent to grave. And to top it all off, we even have the buffered slime that prevents them from killing us on the next turn. Let's enter the battle phase and swing over this Sports Dragon Slugger. No prompt activates. Time to finish the duel with their own Blue Eyes White Dragon. Paco, are you still here? I hope I am redeeming the deck in your eyes. Number 21. And a gold icon. Do I know who this is? Oh, it's a very, very well-known player. And they are on Cyberse. I wasn't expecting it. I feel like the Cyber stack is a bit interesting because they have such low defense monsters. And machines are so popular. Alright, they are playing Ragnarok. And here comes the Chaos Femtron at turn number 1 to find that Attitude Hydron. A big boss monster. But are they going to bring it out turn 1 or not? Here comes Maximum Ragnarok. Had they chosen to add the Yggdrago piece instead, I would have actually been in a really good spot with the Essel. But now we are hoping to draw any of our boss monsters. As long as we're able to find any of them, we have a shot here. Hydron, I was really hoping Hydron would mill another boss for me. And this is looking rough. I mean, I do have access to the Crafter Drone line. But is it worth overextending that much? Okay, think about it. Cyber stacks do struggle to out a set 3 board. So, if I just set my cards face down, I can give up on the Essel and try later. But I am also going to be able to dig 3 cards to try to find a high level monster. However, I think I need to just play it cool and safe. Let's go ahead and set our cards face down. Knowing the Cyber stack should have no outs to this. Other, of course, than drawing a maximum. A Dark Femtron does make sense. Ragnarok being in a 3rd boss. Definitely taking advantage of the slow turn. Why did they do that? I guess they didn't actually have a card they wanted. Oh, they just wanted to get the mill. And they knew they'd be able to clear me anyway. Alright, so let's see what I would have done if I had gone for it. I would have actually been able to draw into a Mirror Innovator. That is a little bit unfortunate for me. As I definitely could have appreciated that earlier. In any case, I think we have to go with the Light Sorcerer of Sanctity, activate the effect, and debuff the Attitude Hydron. Then, we Crafter Drone. And unfortunately for me, I need to summon out a Dark Magic attack this turn. So we are going to be using the Crafter Drone to try to offer some protection. We draw a card. It's another Mirror Innovator. Magician Shuffle, revealing a Dark Magician Girl. Add Dark Magician to hand. And then send Girl to the graveyard. Summon out Dark Magician. This is still pretty unfortunate, as we know they are going to be able to just kind of bounce off of this, with Maximum Ragnarok immediately outing the Dark Magician and inflicting tons of damage. If I didn't go for the Dark Magician play, it's not like I had the low levels to work with either. We see another Chaos Femtron, and I am going to be taking a loss to Maximum Ragnarok for sure. Oh, thank you so much, Shadow Mew. I really appreciate it. So definitely, anyway, I don't know what to say now. But I was gonna ask you about Rogue Voltage. How'd you hear about the game? What has been your favorite part of it compared to other roguelikes, etc.? And again, thank you so much. I somehow survive with 300 life. We draw for turn, and we do have the Bicorn. So we are able to make a board. But unless our attack is lethal, I don't think we're doing it, and we aren't running Sword and Shield. So, we don't have an out to this board. I'd like to be able to say we can just switch them all to 0, and then win that way. But we are on to the Doomed. Well, I don't want to go down without fighting, so I will at least show them my best effort. We definitely don't have the life points to support the Sorcerer. But we are doing what we can. At the minimum, we will clear this board and force them to spend the time activating Maximum Ragnarok and finding a boss monster. And 800 debuff only puts the Mirror Innovator at 1600. So they do still need a boss. And they have gone through a lot of them. There are all 3 Attitude Hydrons in the grave. And Igdrag of the Sky Emperor is still enough to kill me, though. They set 2. They set 3. And a card face down. We are somehow still in the game. Though it is going to be a tough one to win. For sure. We cannot count this as a victory just yet. Let's go ahead and activate Mirror Innovator. We're going to return a Bicorn into the deck to grant some piercing damage. And then we enter the battle phase. Let's attempt to swing in over this monster we know has 100 defense. I guess we could have been greedy and tried to push for 100 more, but we don't need to. Let's set our back row and bide our time. They only have 4 cards in their deck. And they are down all 3 Attitude Hydron. We just might be able to make a great, huge reversal and still win this game. Which would be an incredible choice. Or a set of circumstances. I almost conceded for sure. But one bad turn may be all it takes to turn things around. But why am I not seeing anything? I didn't disconnect. I hope. Let me go to Google and make sure I'm... Okay, I am connected to the internet. It says the stream is still online. They are thinking. I think they know that I have no machines in the graveyard, so my Mirror Innovator is currently not able to activate. And I only have 1 more Dark Magician Girl inside of my deck. But if we draw another Mirror Innovator, that is also piercing damage. Tribute to the Doomed, not quite good enough. Because we don't have an open slot. If we were able to do it, we'd be able to get in. But we are forced to simply head into the battle phase. And swing again. Oh, a Combustion Crisis inflicts burn damage. I should have tried to stall them out. They only had 4 cards left in the deck. That is a huge misplay on my part. Not very many players are running that card. But I should have just switched into defense mode and waited them out. They were going to draw 3 cards on their next turn. They had no way to inflict piercing damage. I had the negate attack. I had that game. All I needed to do was wait. But I tried to attack, and it was my downfall. Unfortunately, with just 1 loss, we fall from 1st place down to 4th. Had we managed to win, we would be at 7,800, still in 1st. Though, surprisingly, not by a very large margin. I thought for sure, with a super long win streak like that nobody else was going to be able to be at the same level. I mean, we did start with a 5-game loss streak. So, I mean, that does do some of it. Alright, let us head into the next round as the timer is going off. And we are up against number 68. This is also a new opponent. We have not seen them before. But we are up first, so let us think this through. I think obviously we need to set our monsters, and we want to set this as well. The more important question is which monster of our 2 do we want to set? And I think the Mirror Innovator is a little bit better at breaking through opposing cards like Gold Rush or Tough Striker. So we're going to go like this. And now that we've lost a game, will it be the end of the luck streak? A Ghost Cyclone is a bad start for us. And they are on pure aggro. A deck I absolutely expect to be able to run right over this Dark Magician. Should I have played it in attack mode to ward off a Dragius? I don't like that play because the more common machine matchup would kind of run us through. And also, I will be right back. I need a tissue. And unfortunately, they did find the turn 1 Dragius, able to just clear over this Dark Magician and swing in for 5,500. We are off to a terrible start here. And we draw into 2 Mirror Innovators, which is a little bit awkward, for sure. We will do our best, summon out this Mirror Innovator, then use a Troop to the Doomed to clear our hand, discard Pop Dragius, activate the Mirror Innovator, swing in for a ton of damage, and even get to save a machine in the graveyard for a future turn, should they need to switch their monsters to defense. And because they might need to switch their monsters to defense, we swing into the Gazelle instead of the Light Sorcerer to provide an additional target for piercing with fewer defense points. However, drawing any of their boss monsters is going to immediately end this game. Okay, Shadow Mute, that actually sounds a lot of fun. A day where I help you get into Duel Links and you show me one of those games sounds like a good time. I will definitely take a note, and if I just forget, after the stream, feel free to just DM me as well. But I am taking a note. Alright, and that is another loss to number 68. Let's go ahead and set the timer. Thank you and enjoy your day or night. Alright, 20 seconds left on the timer. Overall, we are still up quite a bit, but mostly because the losses at the beginning did not bring us into a negative score. Looking at things holistically, we are actually only +1. So this deck is going around a 50% win rate, which honestly, given the level of the competition, is not terrible. But let's see who we are going to run into next. Number 70. And we are second. In some ways, I would say this is almost a deck that does want to go second. Cards like Essel and the Magician Shuffle skill only work if we roll second. And a Dark Magic attack is much better after they start off with a field like this. However, we don't always draw into the cards we want to use here. Essel, no bosses detected. Essel, number 2. And we do find a Mirror Innovator, which is actually incredible. A piercing boss monster is just what we're looking for. Let's go ahead and activate the effect by returning one of our monsters into the deck. And now it has piercing. Start off with Essel. See if we can't get a cleared face down. Alright, and they let that through. So next, we try to swing in with Mirror Innovator. Recital, technically we did not play around, but in case they had a high defense monster, I did want to make sure we were able to clear it. Number 70, and they are almost certainly going to be... So all of my matches in the folder just got clicked with an error. And now I'm not sure what is going on. So I need to go ask them in the chat after this. Alright, unfortunately, we're able to clear my Mirror Innovator. And as discussed previously, I have just about nothing to stop it. However, we do have a Talismanic Seal Array. So if we are able to get some more monsters into the graveyard, it's not so bad. Let's go ahead and activate the effect. And we want to shuffle the monsters into the deck first, before the second Essel. Because we want to remill the monsters rather than milling our key trap cards. So let's go ahead and Talismanic Seal Array. Debuffing that critical monster, Mirror Innovator, on their side of the field. I am very much expecting to kind of just run face first into a negate attack. But we are still going to do what we can. And I think it is worth trying to go for the draw. Maybe I should have done this first. Let's go ahead, activate this, discard the Avant Wolf, and we actually managed to draw it right into the Dark Magician. A perfect appearance. 1 and 2. Then we bring in Light Sorcerer. Light Sorcerer activates the effect. For 300 life points, we get an additional debuff, allowing us to actually clear out the Mirror Innovator with our other monsters should there be some kind of wacky effect. But most likely is going to be, okay, that works too. I was kind of expecting the negate attack. But fortunately, we are able to clear. So we survive another turn. they passed with a full board of defense vision monsters. Unfortunately, we don't draw what we're looking for. So we just have to set and start swinging again. I could use my Essel here to try to fill up the graveyard a little bit. And we mill a bunch of spell cards. But that is actually fine with me. By having this happen, we are now no longer drawing all those spell cards on the next turn. And might be able to do something better with our draws. Let's see if the Essel is able to clear through. And we actually do manage to get it. But I'm surprised they didn't go for the Ameagle then. They must not have had a high level. Okay, that makes sense. Have we seen any Barrage of Steels? One of them. Alright, and we see the Boltricorn turning off our negate attack. That can be a little bit rough, for sure. Welcome, Galfang. Still trying to figure out the right way to bring this up to the tournament staff. Okay, so a Mirror Innovator plus a Gold Rush is definitely a ton of damage if we don't have a good way to combat it. And with our negate attack sealed, I think this is probably going to be game over. Unfortunately for us. And I want to go ahead and mark this as a loss. So we are just waiting for the timer to elapse. And then we will queue in, down to 13th place, after being briefly in the lead. Let's go ahead and start the next duel. And we see our first Noodle Art player. they have gone in for the 1000 burn. But we do have an out to this with our Dark Magician Girl. Let's activate Shuffle, add Dark Magician into our hand, and immediately ditch it. We will go for the extra 300. Just in case something like a barrier comes up and we need to tie with the noodle. Let's go ahead and set the other 2 cards face down and head into battle. As long as these connect, we would be able to make it happen. But unfortunately, they drop a recital on us. They are going to destroy our Seal Array. And also get the burn on our buffered slime as well. A perfect set of circumstances for them to roll right over the Magician's Shuffle. And that is a quick loss. So another 60-second timer. And all the error messages are yet to be resolved. But I don't know why they are showing up. Count if, error list, what did I do wrong? I have the right limit 3 selected. I have the right skill selected. My opponents are the ones that have been showing up. I mean, as far as I can tell, the if error list is greater than 2. And it's saying if I-22, something is greater than or equal to 2. I don't know what this L means. If what is greater than 2? Oh, welcome, Jerry Beansman. Sorry, you joined at a slightly quiet time. I am trying to figure out why it is upset at me. I'm supposed to be recording the match data that I am getting. But for some reason, every time I do, it is throwing an error. Anyway, this is a pretty straightforward turn number 1. I definitely just want to set my board face down. Though, maybe I shouldn't have gone for the Tribute Summon. I am a little bit frazzled by Oh, so they brought in a Dragius. And I don't have much of anything here. I mean, I need to get some machine monsters in the graveyard. So let's Essel, mill, throw this face down. I mean, I could Sorcerer to clear the Dragius. But I don't think I even really want to. I'll just set this as well. End turn and see what they're doing to the sheet. Obviously, I need to slime here. My move, and I do draw some tribute monsters, but that's a few more than I was looking for. I mean, I guess we can tribute. Clear out the Dragius. The Dark Magician is already in grave, so Dark Magician Girl is safe to summon. But that is all we have. Oh, and they actually don't have anything here, giving us a chance to do something. Craft a drone. Let's try drawing a new card. I would like to get rid of the Boltricorn. And Essel, not that impressive. Let's bring in another Dark Magician Girl. Go ahead and set the Essel. And try to clear over these random monsters. Okay, I did get told to keep playing as normal, which is good news for me. Because I'm ready to turn this game around. Let's go ahead and tribute summon out a Mirror Innovator. Then, summon out a Surge Bicorn. Its effect is going to allow me to perform another tribute summon. Let me make sure I have enough machines in the graveyard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Perfect. Bicorn activates the effect, returning as many low-value machines as we can, and preventing us from decking out on the next turn. Then another Mirror Innovator is coming down. Treat it as 2 tributes. And now, Mirror Innovator number 1 activates the effect, returning Mirror Innovator to gain Piercing. Mirror Innovator number 2 doing the same. But I don't have another Mirror Innovator, so we are getting in for as much as we can. Swing in with this. That is 2,900. Hit a low defense monster, and we win this. But it is a Gazelle. Unfortunately, they get another chance. Have they activated a skill yet? As I do need to record this data if I can. It is unfortunately a Ghost Cyclone, and they hit a Talismanic Seal Array. But they have another Ghost Cyclone, and managed to find the negate attack. Unfortunately, we whiff. But they did have 2 Gazelles face down. So there isn't much we could have done here. With the double Ghost Cyclone, the negate attack is a last-minute reversal. We were so close. Wait, but is Barrel Dragon the only boss they have? As this is only 200 damage so far. They are setting monsters and a new card. I am still alive. Somehow. Our move. We draw. let us start with Talismanic Seal Array. This is going to return our Mirror Innovators and our Dark Magician Girl and our Dark Magician into the deck. And it will debuff the Barrel Dragon significantly. But then we aren't done yet. Crafter Drone is able to use its effect and discard the Bicorn. We draw a Mirror Innovator. But that's not really the one we're looking for. What we want is to draw into a Dark Magician or Dark Magician Girl. Unfortunately, we do not quite get there. We do draw a Mirror Innovator though. Let's go ahead and activate the effect to gain Piercing. Just need to shuffle in one monster. Set a card. Set a card. Enter battle. And attempt to swing in for a game. Unfortunately, a negate attack is here. And that is it for us. They have 600 on board. We did not manage to draw the 3 cards we needed. We had the Dark Magic attack, but couldn't find a Dark Magician. Unfortunately. Still not entirely sure. I know what their skill is, so I do need to check it after the fact. And I'm pretty sure I'm not supposed to actually show the decks on screen, so give me 1 second. Okay, I am back, and I can now record the match. After another close one, it was another huge loss streak. So let's make sure our timer is set, and it looks like the management was able to resolve the issue for me. So not really sure what the red line is. I'm getting close to the 25 game quota, but I will definitely try to play as many as I can. Out of curiosity, what is the lead like? 77. I still actually would have been pretty high up there. Had I not been playing and losing all of these games in a row. But the loss streaks are a part of dueling. So let's queue up and start turning things around. If I believe in the Dark Magician, maybe it will provide a little bit. Okay, so we do have an Essel. So let's focus on the game, and then I will go back to the other stuff afterwards. Dark Magician Girl is going to grab the Dark Magician. And then I'm going to send Dark Magician straight to the graveyard. After this, we are able to use the Essel. And Essel is going to revive Dark Magician for us. Activate the effect and special summon. Then we bring in Crafter Drone. And we have 2 copies of Dark Magician Girl to go alongside our boss monster. And we should be able to run over this board relatively easily. Let's double check that they didn't use any weird skills, and they did not. End of the battle phase. Swing in with Dark Magician. And then swing in with the other 2. Realistically, it is a possibility. Reviving this is a misplay. as it sets up an Amigal. And when you see the Amigal coming out alongside a Barrage of Steel, removing the Talismanic Seal of A from my board mostly concerns me because if I draw into a Dark Magic attack later in the game, I'm going to have a really tough time actually managing to use the effect. Not a lot of ways to recycle this Dark Magician. Alright, we see a Mirror Innovator getting even bigger. And I think it's actually the first time we've seen a Cybertech Alligator enter the board. They are number 59. I should probably start recording some data. Alright, and a Mirror Innovator. Always a nice sight to see. Do we have 3 machines in the graveyard? No. Just 1. So I think that does mean we are going to go like this. Summon the Bicorn. Summon the Mirror Innovator. Set a card face down. Activate the Mirror Innovator. Shuffle, 1 back into the deck is fine. And then, do I play the Light Sorcerer? The concern is that Mirror Innovator can pierce it and win. So I think we will just get as aggressive as possible here. Let's use Light Sorcerer Sanctity to provide a debuff. And then swing in for some damage. It's a nice counterattack. And we are backed up by a buffered slime. And we have seen 2 Barrage of Steel hit their graveyard. So we should be able to hopefully survive the turn, even if they are clearing our board. And we went second. Okay. Ultimate Bond, here we go. Unfortunately, they have another Ghost Cyclone. I'm not ready for all of these players running so much back removal. Apparently Paco has already hit King of Games. That's incredibly fast. But more importantly, I am losing yet another game with my Magician Shuffle list. Somehow, they only managed to hit for 100 life. I want to Crafter Drone here. And try to find another monster that I am able to Tribute Summon. And we actually managed to find the Dark Magician Girl. Dark Magician itself is ready to go. And I think I'm actually going to bring it out over the Dark Magician Girl. Because I want to bring out the Avant Wolf as well. And then my other monsters. We can always use Light Sorcerer of Sanctity to beat over the Tough Striker. Or we could use the Talismanic Seal Array as well. But I think we are just going to activate the effect. Debuff. Summon out a Dark Magician. And play relatively normally. And we pass it over again. However, they only have 1 boss in the graveyard. They have a pretty good chance of getting out 2 bosses here. Vulturecorn is live, and they have another Ghost Cyclone somehow. Why are they running so many? And why is it working so well on me? Obviously, this has gotten incredibly dangerous incredibly quickly. Bicorn becoming a Mirror Innovator. That is 900 damage, plus whatever they shuffle in. They are going in for maximum damage. Another Barrage of Steel. That is 5 back removal cards. And I mean, obviously you can see it is taking up space in their hand. They only have a Lone Mirror Innovator. So a Dark Magic attack would be nice here. And we somehow managed to find it. Let's go ahead and blow away that back row. It is their own negate attack. What is in our graveyard? In terms of machines, another Mirror Innovator is a perfect sight to behold. This is 100 damage. Mirror Innovator is boosting up for over 2,400. This is 3,600. With the boost, this is game. For sure. Activate the Mirror Innovator. Let's go ahead and return our strongest monsters into the deck. 7, 4, and 3. That is 1,400 plus 25 is 39. I'm pretty sure we have this. Throw a face down card and battle. Swing in with Dark Magician. The Dark Magic attack. Ending the game. And another win for our Magician. Let's go ahead and queue in again. And we are up first. And as expected, it is yet another Yuga. Alright, we've been getting this kind of awkward hand a lot over the course of this event. But as always, well, I could actually craft a drone here. But I don't want to. The thing is, I want to keep this Mirror Innovator to actually respond to their board. So we are going to tribute off the 2 non-crafter drones. Go ahead, set a monster, and pass it over. And they have an Essel for a Gold Rush that even found a Tough Striker. Fortunately, we don't have any attack position monsters, so the Gold Rush is at least not going to be running through us like that. Obviously, we are probably going to be taking a pretty significant amount of damage here, especially if they are able to find another boss monster in their opening hand. Here comes a Mirror Innovator, and that is piercing through for full damage. We have a 0 defense monster on the board. This is not looking great for the Dark Magician and his friends. Gold Rush using the effect to grab the Tough Striker. Interesting choice. But I guess it is good to have it in the hand for later. I probably would have gone full greed and used the Tough Striker for more piercing damage on the Mirror Innovator. But that is why I would not be winning with the deck. Mirror Innovation, 2,700. That is a ton. But I didn't really have any better options. All my monsters had very low defense. Alright, and now we draw the Dark Magic attack. That we most certainly do not need. Do we have any machines in the graveyard? We do. I think we might as well Essel though. Try to get a little bit more fodder in there. Other than that, we are kind of just sitting here doing nothing. And now that I think about it, that Essel should almost definitely be in defense mode, rather than letting them pierce me with another Mirror Innovator on the next turn. We are going to do what we have to. Return the Bicorn. get in for a little bit of damage, and pass it over. Unfortunately, this is looking quite bleak. The opposing mirror innovator, definitely looking like we aren't really going to be able to do much of anything against it. Our face down card is a complete bluff here, and it has a 4100 Pierce going right through us. A swift and embarrassing loss by the machine, or by the spellcasters, after we did so much effort trying to prove their worth. Somehow we are still at 3,100 points, despite the tumultuous downturn. We'll go ahead and set that timer once again. And since we have lost and finished 25 games with the deck, I think it is time we swap it out for noodles. Apparently I have to go through all of this, but I am not trying to do raid duels right now. I just want to switch to my deck. And it is noodles. Give me 1 second. I do need to confirm my limit 3 card. Okay, and we are back, and I'm able to properly log my results. That should have also been more than 60 seconds, so we are ready to fight with some different decks now. I think the spellcasters had their chance. Let's go ahead and queue. Number 8 deck is this one. Limit 3 is this one, and we are going second up against number 70. Have we fought them before? I feel like we might have, but I'm not seeing it on the list. Oh wait, we aren't at 25 games yet. The reason the red line is there is because that is the 25 mark. Okay. The first 7 lines are misnomers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, that's fine. I'll go ahead and set normal summon out a Spice, normal summon a Fire Yarrow, normal summon a Stock. Activate the effect to boost their attacks. Activate the skill to boost my attack even further. I don't need to add any cards to my hand. They didn't do anything wacky, so unless that's the Magician's Valkyria exactly, this attack makes sense. But they have the negate attack at the ready, turning off our first attempt at a big push. And now we have a level 7 monster to trigger their aim eagles. And we have no traps to protect us. Things are not looking good for the Noodle Bros. Yeah, I think the Noodles are one of the best decks currently in the game. This is not their ideal starting hand, nor is getting hit by the turn 1 negate attack something that we want to be doing. But of course, sometimes it is going to happen. Alright, we see a couple of aim eagles coming in to wreak havoc on my lifespan. Here comes a Gold Rush, who is going to be able to use the effect if they manage to get a normal monster into the graveyard. Here comes an Essel to try to activate the effect. No. They actually just immediately use the aim eagle again. I'm a little bit surprised by that. I feel like it was worth the shot of maybe finding the Mirror Innovator, but they weren't able to because they have another effect monster, or a normal monster in their hand. Interesting. Obviously, we have nothing face down, so we are taking, I want to say like over 4,000 damage. Yeah, we are at 1,600 on our second turn. We will Seahorse Carrier and activate the effect. This will add Grace Princess Kana into our hand. We will summon a Grace Princess Kana. Then we will summon Extra Spice, the Elite Noodle Ninja. This allows us to add a Pyro Normal monster from our graveyard to our hand. But it will not be sticking around for very long. Stock, the Noodle Ninja, comes in and then is going to be immediately sacrificed to allow us to draw one card deeper into the deck. And we draw another non-aqua, which is incredibly awkward. Or another non-pyro. As we really need that extra draw. I will summon the Extra Spice number 2. And then 1,600 is a 3,400 Mirror Innovator. Does that. I feel like this game is a super lost cause. We have to kill the Mirror Innovator, and then we aren't able to clear the other one. So we have to just swing into the Avant Wolf, and hope that this somehow does not lead to us taking more damage. The extra 1,000 burn and a draw card, really we were hoping to draw into something along the lines of our own negate attack. But since it didn't happen, the Noodles are going to start tumbling. All I need is a single boss monster in their hand to get things going. But it seems they are playing pretty defensively here, which might give us a little bit of time to stabilize. Let's see some Pyro Monsters and some traps. I mean, maybe this gets us where we're going. Let's activate the Extra Spice and ditch this Cerebus for a new card. We draw into a Seahorse Carrier, and while that's not necessarily ideal, it does mean we are going to be able to summon the monster and actually put in a lot of work here. It is no Pyro Monster, but it is 2 low-level ones, allowing us to bring in a Pyro with Noodle Art Boost. This might act, I said it wasn't ideal, but it may have been the single best draw we could have hoped for. Let's go ahead, add a card to our hand. Stock the Noodle Ninja is here for us once again. Normal summon and burn. Activate the effect. Send this to the graveyard. And we draw another trap. Though, with our current lineup, I don't think that trap is actually doing anything. Let's activate our Talismanic Seal Array. And return a few monsters into the deck. Obviously, we want our Seahorse Carriers whenever possible. We will debuff the Gold Rush. And then we'll set our other 3 cards face down. 1, 2, and 3. If this attack goes through, we win the game. However, Wild Negate attack is down. Buffered Slime is not. So don't count them out of the game just yet. As you can see, they have a Combustion Crisis. But that actually is not going to be enough. And we take a win with just 900 life remaining. They were on Ultimate Bond, and we got a win. Noodles somehow coming back from a desperate, incredibly hopeless, and lost situation. Unfortunately, this is a difficult Limit 3 to find on the list because it's not super popular. Oh, there it is. And we are going first this time. Up against number 33. Our move. Interesting. Why am I timing out? I would like to play the game. I like this opening hand. Please let me play. Unfortunate that we appear to be quitting out. I actually had a good hand here. And it looks like my Google connection is fine. I am on the internet. I'm on the right connection and everything. So Jerry is even in the Twitch chat. So it seems like it isn't actually my connection. It might be a Duel Links issue. Incredibly unfortunate. Oh, and it looks like it actually didn't count it either way. So we are able to head back into the game. Hopefully. Did not count as a win or loss. And it looks like a lot of other people are having the same issue. I wonder if there's a word for this, or what the word for this is in Japanese. I will mark it. Okay, let's go ahead and duel. And hopefully it works the next... You know, I probably should have tried to load another screen instead of just clicking on duel. as you can see, we are having issues now. Oh, it thinks I am searching. So we will see what happens. Up against 12. And we are first here. Alright, and we actually have a burn available with the extra spice. So let's go in and deal that free 1,000 damage. I think most decks would just set here, but getting that extra card draw early seems pretty solid. Let's go ahead and normal summon. Go in for the effect, and see if we can't draw a trap card. Activate the skill Noodle Art Reboot, boosting this up and adding the Fire Yarrow back into our hand. They are on an archive skill, so presumably that means there will be no fancy Mirror Innovators coming our way. Alright, they start by setting 2. If they don't actually have anything to respond with, the Noodle deck is off to the races. As we are now able to flip over the Fire Yarrow and burn again. Then we summon Kanon. We summon another extra spice, and at this point we have already dealt 3,000 damage to our opponent without even attacking a single time. Let's go ahead and extra spice, draw another new card. Then we are able to activate our skill, Noodle Art Reboot. This boosts the new extra spice placed on the field and adds Fire Yarrow to our hand again. By doing this, we are now able to trade it off for the Flame Cerebros. We don't know what they are running, so I'm going to give up on the Shield and Sword if they have Spell Trap removal. We'll set it face down and enter the battle phase, forcing the opponent to out our board on the next turn if they don't want to take a ton of damage. Looks like this is the Mirror Art Mirror Match. They do have a trap card, I think. But then it wasn't triggering on the third one, which was interesting. Let's see what they do. Setting 3 monsters is not going to be a valid game plan, as once again we activate our burn, and then we do it again. 5,000 burn damage in one turn. Bring in the Fire Yarrow. I could try to set a monster, or set another trap card, but I don't see a point. Let's head into the battle phase. Alright, and now they very much, truly need to enter the board, or they are out of time. I have the Pyro already on field. And that is a concession. We are pretty sure they are on Noodle Art Reboot, but we will confirm, as we technically never saw it happen. Hopefully this game does actually count. Alright, and it loads. But I do need 1 second to confirm their skill. And I'm not supposed to be showing all of these decks off publicly. So I will be going into the BRB screen for 10-15 seconds once this loads. Alright, and 1 moment. And we are back. And I'm able to confirm the skill on that. Looks like a communication timeout. Another no contest. Oh, and they're asking what to do if we get, that communication timed out error. Do we record those? Well, in any case, I will go ahead and record it as another no contest. Just to make sure we have it listed and documented that we were trying. Well, that is a huge lizard. There's a little lizard buddy hiding in my room. But, I mean, might as well keep on trying. But also, maybe I should try to do something about the lizard. Like a little catch and release. But it is kind of on the ceiling. And another one. I suppose now is a good time for me to take a break. I might as well write down, that we did try. And let it be sorted out later. So, okay. I am gonna go try to find the lizard, which means I will be back in a minute. You guys are not missing anything. Duel Links is crashing, and I'm gonna be AFK. So just sit tight, and we will resume shortly. So, unfortunately, I am a little bit, slower than a lizard. And that means I am not able to capture it. However, I do need to go check on the Discord, and see what the admins are saying. Onaji ku kochira no sushin era ga okitemasu. Okay. So everybody is having this issue. And the admins have made an announcement. Sorry to keep you waiting. Please continue playing. If you don't seem to come back from loading, reboot, etc., the sheet record should be written according to the results of the matchups in Duel Links. If the game is invalid, no entry is made. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the no contest entries. And then, I did finish one game successfully, which means I will move it up here instead. Okay. But why are they telling us to continue? If nobody's able to play the game. Right? Yeah, someone else is saying the same thing. We might not be able to reach the quota. Unde arimasen. So I think they're saying it's okay, if we don't make it. But we are going to at least go back to the home page and spend a minute on the, on making sure Duel Links actually works. Also, I very much appreciate the alphabet, chain going on over here in the chat. Alright, let's give it one more shot. And see if we are able to duel. If this one doesn't work, oh, another message from the tournament organizers. Presumably they are going to be adjusting the quota. Did it be, okiteru omowareru tame nonoma ga, okay, dakite nai bai de mo, penalty wa nai kata to. Alright, so I am able to clock out, given it isn't working. So, that being said, I would like to get a few more points in if I am able to. 13th, I really wanted that top 10 position, which is currently sitting at 7,000 points. I suppose I am a little bit far away. However, I'm not sure there's much we can do here. So perhaps we should take a slight break. And do our wait, okay, so if it's not working, I'm going to assume I'm also not able to do the raid assist, but maybe it is only a PvP issue. So let's go to the deck editor, set our link spam deck, and see if maybe we can't earn a few gems and then get back into the duels as we wish. let's go ahead and set our random link climbing deck. I should probably throw in a Megamorph though. Or 2 or 3. We are at M, so we're getting close. And there they are. We can take out a... probably just the 2 Speed Voids. And let's do that. So what is the word they are using here instead of error? Time to go learn a little bit of Japanese. Oh, Shogai. That makes sense. I don't think there's really anything for me to do in the auto duel event. So if there's anything people would like to talk about. Jerry says Master Duel is working fine. So I'm glad that it is going a little bit better over there instead. I would switch over to a game like Etrian Odyssey. But I did finish the game and am planning on getting another new one later. And it looks like I might actually be able to clear out the boss with the auto duel, dealing over 100,000 damage. I'm actually a little bit surprised it was able to do it. It normally gets a ton of draws, even against some lower level variants of the CPU. Raid complete. And that is already enough to put us in the damage rank B category. And we're even a little bit close to the playmat. How many games did I make it through anyway? I think it's 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we got 20 out of the 25 we are supposed to play for purposes of the quota. Would I prefer a standalone Rush game or Rush duels added to Master Duel? So for a full Rush format thing, I am not sure. I am definitely a Yugi boomer. Where even with Rush duels, I feel like obviously the game has existed for 3 years or so now. And the game just plays so much differently than it did when the game first came out. That, I'm not sure if I would play something that had the full card pool of Rush. Just because a lot of it doesn't interest me as much. I don't think the game is actually worse nowadays. I just think it is, throwing a lot of the design limitations out the window. Obviously, something like being able to normal summon a high level monster, or like Cyber Dragon, without tribute isn't like that big of a deal, because you're able to normal summon infinitely anyway. But that does materialize as going +1, compared to a more base card game. So I think there's just a lot of special summoning and combos going on. Whereas I really prefer games when they are a little bit simpler. For example, the Duel Links meta I probably played the most of was the first one. Before we even had any good trap cards. There were still a couple of good viable decks. But the game was definitely a lot simpler. And I enjoyed being able to just log in and play Dragius Beatdown. Or Resonance, or Yami Ruler, or Seven's Axel Road. All those decks still showed up and were winning tournaments. Maybe not the Yami Rulers as much. But the Yami Ruler was still a counter to aggro. It just lost to the other two good decks. Any skippable cards in the latest box. I mean, I think if you already have good enough decks, you probably don't need to invest in the latest Rush box all that much. If you are talking about speed, I have no idea. Obviously, I did go through the box, and Mirror Innovator is a meta-defining card. So I can understand wanting to go through it. But if you're limited on gems, you could even hold off entirely and just play a different deck. Though I would definitely pick up the Negate Attack bundle. That is definitely important. And then let me see if I'll actually go pull up the Duel Links meta page just to make sure I'm not forgetting anything particularly important. What is the name of the box? It's like Steel Kaleido Mirror. All of the URs except for Metagios are skippable. All of the SRs except for Chaos Femtron and the Bicorn are seeing essentially no play. So I would grab Chaos Femtron, Mirror Innovator, and then probably not really care about the others. I mean, Psychics have so many different cards in different boxes that they might get something like the Fire Dragon deck did, where they actually just introduce a pickup box for whenever they decide Psychics should actually be good at the game. Alright, so that was one assist duel. We'll do one more, and then try to get back into the PGRF. For some reason, the AI just decided to feed off my Link for monster for a Link Slayer. And then swing into a monster with the Zero Attack Turbo Booster. This is quality gameplay. There are a lot more Candy support cards. It is likely to be important in the future. Because they will eventually choose to make it good. However, my thought process is that they will probably reprint the card and make a dedicated Candy support pack. Kind of like how Dragonic Resonance was reprinted in the Noodle box. Anyway, those are set up. So let's try dueling. We will go ahead and click on the duel button. And we are actually in the game. So we are going to be trying to play again. We are up against player 61. We are using Noodles. And it looks like we are up first. Interesting opening hand. But definitely not one we have to think about. We have the advantage generator and our boss ready to go for next turn after they try to pierce us. But our defenses are strong. And we will be okay, as they are not playing Mirror Innovator. Unless they are. No, they are on Noodles, for sure. Unfortunately for us, Stock manages to dodge our own monster with defense points. Definitely we are going in with a Seahorse Carrier here. I'm gonna go ahead and draw a card. Then bring in Extra Spice the Elite Noodle Ninja. 1 and 2. Then activate our skill, Noodle Art Reboot. Boosting this, adding a card to our hand. We will add Stock the Noodle Ninja. We can go in for 1,000 points of burn damage, but that is a little bit risky. So I am instead going to simply summon out Spice the Elite Noodle Ninja to go with Stock. We'll activate the effect and see what we would have drawn. As you can see, we would not have drawn another level monster, but since we are playing against Noodles, I would like to keep this card in our hand, so it is not hit by a Fury Blaze. That's swing over Stock, though they might have a negate attack, which is a little bit dreadful. End turn. Oh, thank you, Robert. I really appreciate it. Let me see if there is any other comments I should make about the box. So, like I said, the Psychic deck is not any good right now, and neither is the Dinosaur Maximum. Theoretically, if they ever decide the Maximum can be unlimited, you might see a deck that runs it alongside whatever other random Maximum monster it wants to, but they seem to be limiting all the Maximums that come out. So that's not super likely. Psychics at some point will be good, but I wouldn't invest heavily in them. They are a complete cope deck right now. Metagias, no real reason to run it when we have Jagias and Hammer Crush deal. And are there any other cards actually worth really looking at? We'll find out in a moment. But first, we are activating Shield and Sword to try to get in for maximum damage. Let's summon out a Fire Yarrow. And go ahead with Extra Spice the Elite Noodle Ninja. Unfortunately, it appears we have bricked just a little bit here. We're able to get in for 4,300 if we want, but this time I think we do need to risk the burn. And try to do even more. We draw another Fire Arrow, kind of exactly as planned. And now we have a chance to clear out both of their boss monsters, thanks to the power of Shield and Sword. But with this other Extra Spice in our hand, it unfortunately isn't enough. What we needed was, I don't know. Oh, they also have the Shield and Sword. Very funny. But that is going to go ahead and end the game. I'll make sure they did activate this skill at some point in their life. That way there is not inaccurate logging. Spice is here. And that is game. I'll go ahead and set a 60-second timer. And let's see, anything else from the SRs? I mean, I've seen a couple of people run Tribute Lock, but I don't think it is that important. Especially since it doesn't actually remove the monster. Better options will come later. Obviously, you do need Surge Bicorn. If you're on the machine box, make sure you get the machine SR. Very important card for the deck. I don't remember if I said only Chaos from previously. But you definitely need that double tribute guy. Menacing Gaze is whatever. Ice Arc sucks. Rares, I mean, again, get the machine ones, but you will surely get those while you're pulling for Mirror Innovator. And same with the normals. Okay. I think that should cover it pretty well. And we are now legally able to queue again. But we have fallen massively down the rankings. Today is not my best day. But there is still plenty of time for a turnaround. An hour remains of the point battle. And if I go on a big tear, we could end up with 7,000 or more points. They are first. And our opening hand is not looking great. All things considered. But if they just set 3, we might be okay. Reboot, add the card back, and then we will mill to guarantee we're able to swing over any random 1400s they have. Alright, another fire arrow, that's perfect. To Essel. I guess it is quite a good thing we went second. Don't want to be dealing with all of that. And they are on Ultimate Bond, as expected. Alright, we see a Barrel Dragon, but it still comes down to landing this heads if they want big damage. The board is unfortunately still going to be cleared either way. But with the extra 3,600 life, I still feel like I'm actually in the game. And that is an interesting draw. I think we do go for the shield and sword here. And we'll just do our best to summon out as many monsters as we can. The thing is, I don't think we even need the Seahorse Carrier, as Spice is able to recur the monster we want anyway. And then, do we buff now? Since it gives us an extra 100 attack on each of these. But in order to clear, we're going to need to deal over 3,000 with each of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Brings it only up to 1,800. That is 1,600 damage. So we would need 4,400. Spice is not getting that high. So we will Noodle Art Reboot to spread the buff to 3 monsters. Add a card to hand. Fire Arrow. Summon and mill. Enter battle. Here we go. As you can see, that would have only been 200 extra, would not have been enough to end the game. And clearing out the Barrel Dragon is obviously pretty important if we do not have lethal. So now they are the ones with an empty board. And with only 2,000 life points, a few activations of extra spices could finish this game. But I mean, drawing 2 extra spice and the 3 low levels, and then drawing low levels off of the extra spice drawing a card is pretty unlikely. But even more importantly, we also have to survive this turn. And it is entirely possible they bring in a big old 5,000 attack Mirror Innovator, leaving us kind of looking not great. But if this is their only monster, we are now a little bit also concerned that they have the negate attack. But of course, if we are able to get there with burn from extra spice, then we do not need to rely on something as primitive as entering the battle phase. They only have 1 monster on board, and that means we are going to have the tribute fodder at the ready. all I need to do is draw some extra spice and a level or two, and we are there. We find one. And that, I believe, is what we call a start. Tribute 1, Tribute 2. Activate effect. That's 1,000 damage. Unfortunately, we don't draw another one. But we aren't done yet. Kanan, onto the board. Tribute summon, Flame Cerebrus. Activate skill. Noodle Art Reboot. Boosting the extra spice. And, of course, adding a fire arrow to set face down. But that isn't all. We are able to set 2 trap cards to try to protect our life points should they make a stop to our assault. Of course, it looks like they do have something. And it is the one and only Buffered Slime. Let's swing in and see if they have another card. Not sure if they do. But that felt fast. No, looks like the other card is the Ghost Cyclone. And they immediately find the negate attack, which is obviously the better of our 2 options here. I'm very worried about a Mirror Innovator, as if it buffs up high enough, I think it kills us even through the extra spice. Obviously something along the lines of the Gold Rush is not as threatening, as we are able to safely redirect the attack towards our set monster. But what we see is a Barrel Dragon and a Barrage of Steel to put a stop to any hope we had. Barrel Dragon lands triple heads and clears out Cerebrus for 1,500. However, we still have 2 extra spice in our deck, and all we need to do is draw 1. There it is. Extra spice, the Elite Noodle Ninja, with 400 life. We flip up Fire Arrow and finish off our opponent. Number 46. And we will try another duel. Just a few more until we reach the quota. Which I will try to do even with the communication issues we were receiving. And we are up against number 64. Number Nintendo 64. And we are first. Let's go ahead and see what we draw. Decent enough, depending on what they're actually playing. Let's go ahead and set our entire hand. No need to think about it too hard. Though, maybe the Arching Soldier could have gone in a different position. End turn. Notably, if they are on the Blue Eyes Rain, rather than the Noodles. I mean, we take those. I need to go check their deck. Just triple check it is Noodle. It was, so we can go ahead and queue. I did get a little bit distracted. So I'm going to make a note in the document that my opponent immediately surrendered. But I need to play this game as well. So let's go ahead and set all of our cards face down. Activate Spice, see if we mill a noodle. And we actually do manage to get something that we can add back with the skill. So we're going to go ahead and do that to try to get in for the extra damage. Our opponent, of course, does have 2 face down cards. So we might not be able to, but we are going to give it our best shot. Negative attack is fine. Pass it over. We are seeing a attack here, but redirecting it does not save us, as I have another active spice on the board. So unfortunately, that is game. I don't remember if we went first or second there. I'm pretty sure we went first. No, we definitely went second. So spent a little bit recording that one. So we will queue after we fill in the details for our next game, which will be the all-important game 25. Okay. We're up against number 5 from the kids next door. And we are going second. A decent opening hand. I guess. Maybe. This is acceptable. Though I am misplaying incredibly poorly. I obviously should have been setting that Grace Princess. I don't think it is worth overextending. So we're just gonna go like this. And swing. It is indeed another Ultimate Bond player. And an immediate barrage of steel. Meaning we might be facing some huge repercussions for setting a 0 defense monster instead of a 1400. Only one way to find out. And there it is, the one and only Mirror Innovator, completely messing me up and punishing the misplay. I could have significantly more life here. I need to play very aggressively in order to catch up. So we're gonna go with Extra Spice and Burn and just hope to draw another level. It does not work out for us. Noodle Art Reboot. Boost and add. Fire Arrow coming back again. Do we have 4 monsters in the graveyard? We do. Summon out the Fire Arrow. Activate Seal Ray. Return monsters into the deck. And attempt a debuff. Throw a card face down, battle, and swing. I mean, we managed to get through this turn. But the deck is also incredibly consistent, especially with a Ghost Cyclone drawing them a 6th card. I expect to be very dead here. Though it is possible. It wouldn't have mattered if I had the extra life. Alright, so we see another, and this is exactly what I mean. 1400 life would not make a difference, as I would be dead to the Avant Wolf. And I'm not providing very good representation for our Noodle Brethren. Only 1 defense point monster. I mean, I think we might as well attempt it. Several thousand damage is worth it if we are able to get through. Alright, and it is just an Amigal. Let's see how they deal with this. The Amigal is able to bring in 1 big monster, but they often try to bring in 2. But there is yet again another Ghost Cyclone. I've been hit by a surprising number of them. There was that one player running 3 Barrage of Steel and the 2 Ghost Cyclone, which was a lot more than I expected. And they somehow managed to use basically all of them. And they're actually running both Shield and Sword and Widespread Ruin, rather than the more common Negate Attack. and Trip to the Doomed, which is pretty interesting here. But in either case, both of those cards are now in the graveyard thanks to Essel. Wait, am I playing them again? This is an instant rematch. Alright, here comes a Gold Rush. Unfortunately, that Forever Freeze would have been very useful to remove one of these bosses from the board. Though, I guess it wouldn't matter if I didn't actually draw into a boss this turn. But there comes an Extra Spice, which means it is burning time. 1 and 2. Extra Spice, summon, followed by stock. Extra Spice, send stock, burn, and draw. A Grace Princess, not that impressive. We have 5 monsters in the graveyard. So, if we Seal Array and return 4 of them, what does that leave them with? 1100. I mean, we can push for game here, so I think it is worth it. Add in the Fire Yarrow. Summon out Kanan. Actually, I don't think we are pushing for game here. Battle. This is 1900. But we need to swing in to this if we actually want to clear it. And they have the Buffered Slime to prevent taking any damage. But that is not a good attack. We are able to clear the board. Pass it over. Alright, and we didn't have to worry about negative attack because Widespread Ruin was already gone. Unfortunately, we ourselves are also defenseless. So perhaps we should have set the Grayson's Kana instead of leaving a Fire Yarrow in attack mode. And it also means we would have drawn an extra card on the next turn. Oh, but they end turn immediately and concede, meaning we are able to keep on trucking. And we do find a new player. Number 4. Though we have fought them before, and they were on aggro. So does that affect my plays? Not particularly. But it does mean I actually kind of like seeing a Forever Freeze, as long as they don't have any back removal. As cards like Trigger Drago and Dragius are going to be vulnerable to it. They do start with 1 back row of their own, but we can potentially work around this. We are bringing in the Extra Spice, and we are going to start burning as much as we can. Activate skill. Noodle Art Reboot. Extra Spice, and then add a Fire Arrow to hand. Fire Arrow, summon, and burn. I'd like to draw another card. That's not ideal. But we're going to do what we can here. And set a bunch of cards. Alright, we swing over one of the monsters, and it is their turn. Notably, if they do bring in a Dragius, we probably do need to use the Forever Freeze on it, despite it not being a particularly strong move. Well, maybe we don't. It's only an extra 100 damage. So it might just work out okay. But all they're doing is setting. No, they do have the Tribute Summon, and it is the Barrel Dragon. I feel like I can't really risk the Barrel Dragon sticking around. So we are going to give up our Extra Spice here. But we are, fairly likely to run into a bunch of attack-resistant monsters like this. We will take 2400 though, no problem. Definitely much, much better than the alternatives. Let's go ahead, summon out a few monsters of our own. We can't Talismanic Seal away, so we might as well set this. And then enter battle. Swing over this. I don't think they have any more boss monsters, or they would have summoned it. But they might very well have a negate attack. But they let these go through. Suspecting, probably correctly, that it's not a big deal to lose out on some light sorcerers. Especially if you don't know, you're going to be able to draw a boss later. We see another Ghost Cyclone, destroying our Combustion Crisis, because the toggle informed them it was an activatable card. And now we are in a ton of danger. A double boss board, we were okay against. But now, it is pretty lethal. Call of the Earthbound isn't going to help us against something like that. And they discard a Dragius, which shows they must have something else. Like another Dragius. But they had a chance to win the game. So we will appreciate the effort they put in here to, well, actually, no, they weren't able to summon out the other one anyway. Okay. Obviously, we are summoning our common. And we will do our best to boost them up. Activate Noodle Art Reboot. I know they have a trap card. But we also have some of our own. So it's not as scary. Activate Spice's Effect. Set a card face down. Set a card face down. I know we aren't killing them. So there's no need to waste our Talismanic Seal Array. And there it is, a buffered slime. Swing in, see if anything else is triggerable. Nothing popped up. So I don't think they also have negate attack currently set on the field. But here comes a Hammer Crush deal. Will they use it? And if so, what will they target? They have a Ghost Cyclone too. There is so much spell and trap removal in this deck. And it is paying dividends. They've been able to activate 3 removals. Taking out some pretty key cards for me. But this Hammer Crush is still a 50-50. So we will see what they do. And what their hand allows them to do. A boss monster is coming in. And are they going to spend the final card on the Hammer Crush? Or do they need to summon another monster? They do go for it. And they manage to hit the negate attack. Unfortunate, we lose a 50-50. And number 4 manages to take a win. We are only a couple hundred. If we manage to win the next one, we will be back above 5,000 points. Might be worth setting a reasonable goal. Seeing if we can't get there by the end of the 4th hour. Oh, I forgot to wait. I keep doing that. That is entirely my fault. But fortunately, we are queuing against a different opponent. With a field like this, I'm pretty sure we want to keep the boss monster around. Are they going to be on Blue Eyes or Noodles? Do we know? Have we fought number 68 before? Yes, but they were running a different deck. Here come Noodles, confirmed, reboot. And it isn't like we have anything to stop them. So they are going to be able to clear over this Noodle Ninja. Our move. An extra spice. Interesting. Though we are a little bit low on resources for this. I think we do want to go for the burn, though. We've burned through so many other cards already that I feel like we are pretty likely to actually get a monster. But we do not. So that is rough. For sure. We do not enjoy being all bricked up like this. And our trap cards are very unlikely to actually help us all that much. Oh, a Dream Drummer is actually a pretty funny inclusion. It's able to get rid of our normal monsters to weaken these spices. Another extra spice coming down. But that one didn't even, the first one didn't burn us, which is pretty interesting. I am still kind of expecting a second boss monster to show up here. But with only 4,000 life, they might not need to. Yeah, especially with that Torvero. Oh, and they don't even have level 7s. They run level 8s. So that is going to be game over. And I'm thinking maybe it is time we call it a day. We have played the quota. We clearly aren't doing all too well. I will leave the noodles to the noodle professionals. I don't want to be, ruining their record too much in the data. So we are going to take a solid 4,000 points and bail. I think it's very funny that number 1 is in first place. I wonder if I know them. Let's take a look. Oh, I've definitely seen the name before. But anyway, that is going to be it for me. And that means we need to find somebody else to raid. If there's anybody playing Duel Links. And if not, maybe some other game I actually enjoy. Are there any Rush Duelers online? I am severely doubting it. And I was correct. So, I think that is going to be just about it. Thank you. Oh, Chenyu is number 9. Welcome, Chenyu. We were actually just finishing up. We hit the quota. We aren't doing all that well. So, there's not really a point in us to make a big push. How well have you been doing here? Number 9. Oh, you are doing, exactly the same as me. We are both at exactly 4,000 points. If you are still pushing, I hope you the best. But we are heading out. Thank you again for watching. And I will see you all next time.